Have you ever felt like the world just stopped making sense? Like everything you thought was true suddenly wasn't? Well, you're not alone. In the early 20th century, a whole generation of writers felt the exact same way, and they channeled that feeling into a literary revolution we now call modernism. Get ready, because today we're diving into the era where literature broke all the rules. Picture this: the world is roaring into the 20th century. We've got new technologies, new ideas, and a sense of endless possibility. But then, boom, World War I hits. The Great War shatters everything. It leaves a deep psychological scar on society. People start questioning the old traditions, the old beliefs, the old ways of seeing the world. They felt a profound sense of disillusionment and alienation. The optimism of the Victorian era, gone. In its place was a feeling of fragmentation, of living in a broken world. And literature had to find a new language to express this new reality. This is where the modernists come in. Writers like T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, James Joyce, and many others decided that the old, straightforward storytelling just wouldn't cut it anymore. If the world was chaotic and fragmented, then art should reflect that. So they started experimenting. They threw out the rulebook. Traditional plots, forget about them. Clear, linear texts, not always, but instead they wanted to capture the messy, chaotic, and often confusing reality of human consciousness. One of the most groundbreaking techniques they used was the stream of consciousness. Imagine trying to write down every single thought that pops into your head exactly as it appears. The random memories, the sudden anxieties, the half-formed ideas, the sensory details you notice for a split second. That stream of consciousness. Virginia Woolf was a master of this. In her novel Mrs. Dalloway, we follow a character throughout a single day. But we're not just seeing what she does. We're living inside her mind. We experience her memories of the past, blending with her present sensations and her worries about the future. It's a completely immersive and sometimes disorienting reading experience that feels incredibly true to how our minds actually work. Then you have James Joyce, who took this idea to another level. His masterpiece, Ulysses, is famously complex. It also follows characters over a single day in Dublin, but Joyce packs it with so many layers of symbolism, literary allusions, and linguistic games that it's like a puzzle box for the reader. He wanted to show that even in the most ordinary of lives, there is an epic depth of thought and experience. He broke the rules of grammar and syntax, inventing new words and new ways to structure sentences to capture the flow of thought. It wasn't about telling a simple story. It was about creating a total experience of consciousness. And what about poetry? It got a major shake-up to T.S. Eliot's poem The Waste Land, is probably the most famous example of modernist poetry. Published in 1922, it's a direct response to the devastation of World War I. It's not a neat rhyming poem with a clear message. Instead, it's a collage. Eliot pieces together fragmented images, lines in different languages, quotes from other texts, and rapid shifts in voice and tone. Reading The Wasteland feels like tuning a radio and catching snippets of different conversations and songs, all coming together to create a powerful feeling of spiritual emptiness and a desperate search for meaning in a broken culture. He captured the collective anxiety of a generation. So, what were the big themes these writers were tackling? Alienation was a huge one. Characters in modernist literature often feel like outsiders, disconnected from society, and even from themselves. They're searching for identity in a world that no longer offers easy answers. Think of the characters in Ernest Hemingway's novels, often part of the lost generation, who are emotionally scarred by war and drift through Europe trying to find some kind of purpose. Psychology also became a central focus, thanks to the new and exciting theories of people like Sigmund Freud. Writers became fascinated with the inner workings of the human mind, the subconscious, our hidden desires, and our deep-seated fears. They weren't just interested in what characters did, but why they did it. They dove deep into the psychological motivations that drive human behavior. This experimental spirit wasn't just a gimmick. The modernists believed that art had a serious job to do. In a world that felt chaotic and meaningless, literature could create its own form of order, its own kind of meaning. By breaking the old forms, they were trying to build something new from the wreckage. They were forcing readers to work, to engage, to piece together the meaning for themselves. A modernist novel isn't something you just passively consume. It's something you actively participate in. Their influence is impossible to overstate. The techniques they pioneered, the non-linear narratives, the focus on interior life, the fragmented style changed the course of literature forever. Almost every serious writer who came after them had to reckon with what the modernists did. They opened the door for new ways of telling stories, new ways of understanding ourselves and our place in the world. So, the next time you read a book that jumps around in time, or a poem that seems deliberately confusing, you can thank the modernists. They were the ones who had the courage to say that if life is complicated, messy, and sometimes doesn't make sense, then our art should be brave enough to reflect that. They showed us that sometimes the only way to find a new truth is to break all the old rules. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the modernist age. It's a challenging but incredibly rewarding period of literary history. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the world of literature. Let me know in the comments which modernist writer is your favorite. See you next time.